Do you want to know what happens with your avoidant and sex? Keep watching. Hello everyone, Marianna here, and I am your favorite coach and therapist if you have anxious attachment style. And don't forget to subscribe, give me a like, give me a comment. I respond them all, and I love hearing from you. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. That is where I'm going to give away the invitations to my masterclass in October. We're going to announce the date and the time, and the masterclass is going to be here through YouTube, but the invitations are given through Instagram through a private message. So this topic, everyone asks me about sex all the time, and not everybody can agree to, what are the things, trying to decode avoidance and their sex taste or their sex life, or how they perform in sex, what it means to them. So in all my years in practice, dealing with people with anxious attachment, helping them heal and being exposed to avoidance, so I have created this classification for you so that it gives you more clarity, so that you can see what happens with avoidance and sex and how that is affecting you. Because there are some anxious attached people that have avoidant partners and they both suffer, okay? But some of them think sex is off the charts with their avoidant and it's great. Some of them think that sex is really mediocre. So let's decode that, and I'm here to decode that for you. So I have developed this classification so the information is processed a little bit more, a little easier, okay? So let's start with anxious attached people, okay? I have developed two categories, okay? One is the anxious attached person. We'll say category A and category B. Category A is the anxious attached that uses sex as a means for activating strategies, okay? This is on my past videos, activating strategies, but real quick, I'm going to tell you. Activating strategies is everything an anxious attached person does to reestablish contact and closeness with their partner. So you can do it in different ways. You can physically do it by behavior, calling, texting, loitering, waiting for them, whatever that is. And you can also do it energetically, thinking about this person compulsively, even looking at their pictures on Instagram or their social media and just seeing where they are, looking at their location, who they're friending, who are they commenting, who are they putting likes, all that stuff, okay? So that's an activating strategy. Some anxious attached people, most of them I would say, see sex as an activating strategy. Their avoidant acts cold all the time, but the moment they have sex, they feel fulfilled because they see it as the moment of closeness. You may not have closeness all the time, but when you have sex, you do. Okay, so category A for anxious attached is that person that uses sex as a means of an activating strategy, trying to seek closeness and more contact. Now, let's have category B for anxious attached. Okay, category B, it's going to be that anxious attached person that sees sex as a means of fulfilling their sexual desire, and they engage emotionally and use other things as activating strategies in different ways. Okay, maybe your thing is more quality time. That's where you see closeness. Maybe words of affirmation or other ways, just not sex. You're doing it because you love having sex, you are good at it, or you consider that you're good at it, and it releases stress. It's just more like a physical thing. So that is the two categories for anxious attached. Now let's explore the avoidance, okay? So let's say category A for avoidance, we're going to say is these avoidants that use sex as a means of deactivating strategies. So what are deactivating strategies if you're here just now? Deactivating strategies is everything an avoidant will do to make sure they want you at arm's length. Everything they're going to do to push you away and to make sure that you're really, far away. They use it to let you know, they use it as a means of communication to you to let you know that they want no contact. Okay, they kind of like, it's like a bucket of ice that they dump on you. So let's have these avoidants in that category. Okay, the category of using sex as a deactivating strategy. So how does sex as a deactivating strategy look like? It's really mediocre. It's really bad. The complaints that I get from this category is that using sex as a deactivating strategy is that person that probably would interrupt sex halfway and be like, I'm just tired. I'm done. It's not working out. It's too hot. It's just not. No, it's all right. We'll do it next time. They leave it at that. And no cuddling. There's no emotional engagement. They probably won't. You probably say I love you, and they will be like, they'll say nothing, or they'll be like, yeah, I love you too. It's just not. It's very meaningless. Okay, because they're using sex to let you know I don't want you. I don't want this closeness. Okay. So category B for avoidance is going to be that type of avoidant that uses sex not as a deactivating strategy, but as a way to release their libido. Okay, they like having sex. They're horny people, and then they just like doing it, and they have fun with it. So usually it's, I'm going to use the word recreational. Okay, it's definitely not loving and warm, but it's fun. Okay, it's good sex. It's not emotional, it's not warm and fuzzy. It's just good sex, good performance. Okay, so what happens? Okay, now we have two categories here, and now we have to develop the combinations. Okay, so if we're going to do the combinations through the anxious attached person. Okay, so let's say an anxious attached person that uses sex as an activating strategy. When they come in contact with an avoidant as the activating strategy, what happens is complete torture. Okay, because you're on one side as an anxious attached person, wanting the closeness, having expectations, wanting the warmth. You want it because this is the only means you have, or you feel like you can get closeness from your partner. And now you have an avoidant that's using the sex as a deactivating strategy. So it's like you're going super hot and this one is going super cold. So it's completely opposite. These are the types of couple that sex is their whole inner dialogue of their relationship, and it's a huge torture, especially for women. They tend to feel very insecure about their bodies, and it's torturous for men too, because they feel like they're losing their masculinity. They can't create any emotional attraction with this woman, and they compare to other women, right? Like, oh well, but my ex wasn't like that. What is wrong with this girl? Okay, so then we're having these two polar opposites combined. This is our first combination. Our second combination is an anxious attached person that is using sex as an activating strategy that mixes with this, I'm having a good time with sex type of avoidant, right? The one that's not using it, that uses it for libido purposes. Okay, what happens here? You have high expectations, you want closeness, but this person only seems to want to have a good time. Only is doing it to be there physically, not emotionally. So when that happens, usually the opinion of the anxious attached person is like, yeah, we have good sex. Yeah, it's good sex, and you still harbor hope that the emotional contact of your sex that you're having is going to improve. And that is going to drag the relationship a little longer. This is another red flag that most anxious attached people don't want to see. Okay, because we feel in our own vanity that it's going to get better. So let's do another type of combination also through the anxious attached perspective, okay? Those anxious attached people that use sex not as an activating strategy, they use it as a means for physical contact, libido, and having a good time, okay? Your activating strategies present themselves in other ways, not through sex. That category, what happens when you sleep with your avoidant that uses it as a deactivating strategy? Sex tends to be pretty mediocre, okay? And you feel like it's not up to your standards, because an anxious attached person that likes to have sex for libido purposes and they activate in different ways, you have your bar pretty high. You feel like you're good at sex, and then this person is deactivating. You're like, this person is super boring. That is the low quality sex, pretty mediocre, and, but it's okay. Then the last combination is the anxious attached person, again, that uses sex as having a good time, means of libido and physical contact, not an activating strategy. Okay, we're still in that category. And they mix with an avoidant that also wants to have a good time, that is also seeing sex as a physical means, libido satisfaction, and they believe they're good at sex. This is the type of couple that says sex is off the charts, is awesome, it's amazing, but he's an avoidant. Okay, sex is amazing, but she's an avoidant, and it's not gonna work out. And these are the people that are very difficult to leave if you're a highly sexual person, because you're both having off the chart sex, but the emotional intimacy is not there. So it's always going to be an issue. No matter what, with all these 4 combinations that we have developed, whether the sex is good, whether the sex is bad, the inner dialogue of the relationship is that there is no emotional intimacy. And that is always going to be more powerful than any porn star behaving avoidant you'll ever find. Because that's not what a relationship is based on. If you lasted with your avoidant a long time based on sex, I believe you. It's very possible. But what happened? It didn't last forever. So good sex or kind of okay sex can only take you so far. So just remember that if you're with an avoidant, really reflect on the relationship. The sex may be bad, mediocre, just okay, or totally off the charts great. However, what is the problem? The lack of intimacy in the emotional level. So think about that. You can have sex, great sex, with so many people because you're not born being great at sex. Some people have that innate ability, and that's amazing, but the person can be trained. It can be trained. Can you train an avoidant to have good sex? It depends. I get asked that all the time. If they're using it as a deactivating strategy, forget it, never. Because that's what they use as a deactivating strategy. They don't have anything else. Can you train a person and avoidant if they want to learn? Yeah. But you always have to make the concessions. You always have to keep your bar low. And that is really what is so painful about this combination, this anxious avoidant trap. So I hope that this classification helped you and answered all these questions that I get all the time about sex. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe. I send you a hug and a kiss, and I love you. I'll see you next time.